What is up, YouTube? It's Rahul. I am back again today. We're going to be doing another post-rotation video because the last two seem to be doing super well. Again, keep in mind, guys, for post-rotation, Evolving Skies is not legal yet, so these lists are a little bit antiquated. It's only going to be really good for this 10K tournament coming up in New Jersey on August 7th. I am playing in it. So today's video is actually going to be a little bit of a special treat. I built the deck that I plan on playing at the 10K event, IRL, right here, sleeved up, 60 cards, baby. And I'm going to show you guys the 60 card list that I think is good, really good for me right now. Why I think some of these cards are good, etc., etc. Now, I know as a top player, you typically don't want to give away your best secrets early or whatever, but this event is not for any real prizing besides cash, and it'll be nice to see friends. And also, I think putting out a deck that I can't really test online, like I really can't test it against people unless they're actually playing this format, is going to be a good way to get your guys' opinion on how you think the deck fares into the current metagame and what you think I could improve with the deck. If you guys are enjoying the content, obviously leave a like, subscribe. That'd be greatly appreciated. If you guys want to see more kind of content like this, let me know. I want to do some IRL battles, stuff like that coming up soon. I have some things planned. So without further ado, let's jump into the deck. I'm just going to move my webcam down a little bit because I'm really excited to show off an IRL deck. So we're going to kind of look at it together a little bit. I hope you guys like No Game, No Life. That's my mouse pad here. So the deck that I am planning on playing is Urshifu, Rapid Strike Urshifu. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Shadow Rider Calyrex, probably a really bad matchup. The answer is yes, but there's no longer bench barrier Mew. So almost all sniping style decks get a lot of benefit with G-Max Rapid Flow, which does the 120, 120 bench. You have Passimian and Telescopic Sight as well still in the format. Therefore, you can hit for 180 on a lot of V Pokemon, which means Crobats are just sitting ducks for you. Eldegoss are now sitting ducks for you. Free prizes, and then 180 usually sets up almost any and almost all VMAX Pokemon for a one-shot with Gale Thrust the following turn with the boss's order, etc., etc. If that doesn't do enough for you, you have Inteleons to help you set up with the pings. So here's my take on Urshifu, Rapid Strike Urshifu, how I think the deck should be played. So we're going to kind of do it. I'll show the card up here, and then I will lay out the list. So if you guys want to take a picture of the list at the end, you can just skip to the end of the video, grab a screenshot of the list, and get the hell out of here if you want. If you want to support me, watch the entire video. The watch time does help. So we have 3 copies of Urshifu VMAX. Very important just for the overall synergy of the deck. You need 3. There's also 3 copies of Urshibaby V. Now, normally most lists play 4, but I don't think you need the 4 because well, you have a lot of other ways to find the card. Sobble is a really good way to find the card. Quick Ball is a really good way to find the card. Like, it's just a very simple, like, mathematical thing. All right, I'm going to start from the bottom of the line. Obviously, we've got our 4 Sobbles, our little crybaby boy, which has the attack Keep Calling that gets 3 Rapid Strike Pokemon and puts them onto your bench. So going second with Sobble actually gets your game plan up and running much quicker than you would expect. 4 copies of Shady Dealings Drizzile. Now, this card, you've seen it already in 2 of the other post-rotation decks, both the Ice Rider deck and the Zacian deck. Now, this card just gets you any item in your deck, which is really, really, really good. Again, like, I can't really complain with that. You get exactly what you need. Then there's 3 copies of the Quick Shooting Inteleon with a 20 extra damage to kind of just get it on the board. I'm kind of torn on whether I'm playing 2 or 3 of these because the Shady Dealings Inteleon is also really good, just to kind of get your board set up and going. The 20 extra damage pings do matter, so having 1 prize out of the 3 does hurt a little bit. But having 2 Shady Dealings Inteleon can help you close out a game with an Evo Incense now becomes game for exactly what you need, like Boss's Order, Sight, like whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's really good there. And then we have our 1 copy of the Shady Dealings Inteleon. This guy is pretty nuts, gets you any 2 items, so you can kind of just get exactly what you need. So this is our main core of the support line. Now here's where it gets a little bit spicy to deal with a couple of matchups to get energy onto the board. We have 2 copies of Galarian Moltres V with the Dire Flame Wings ability to get dark energies onto the board. Helps us deal with Shadow Rider Calyrex in a really efficient manner because, you know, this guy one-shots that deck. If they play Alchemy, well, we're in a little bit of trouble, but we can kind of play around it, try to figure out another strategy. But for the time being, this guy does a lot of work, gets us going. You know, if they play Alchemy, I think our game plan would always be double sniping to end the game. Something like that, I don't know. But this guy's really, really good. I think just get energy onto the board. I don't know where to put it. Let's put it here. These guys here. And then for our support mons, we have 1 Crobat and 1 Passimian. 1 Crobat is just good because we need a quick ball searchable target to just kind of like dig a little bit deeper on certain turns. Passimian is really good for the 30 extra damage. No more needs to be said about these guys. They're just our fun support gang. The list is going to be laid out very weird because I'm doing this upside down. I forgot my cam does this. This is actually just a gigantic oversight on my part. I've never done this before. There's going to be 3 copies of Professor Research. And normally we would want the full 4, but we play a full Drizzile line and all this other stuff. So it kind of becomes much easier to find it. I've been considering cutting a level ball to go back up to 4 research, but I think I like the level ball engine and the search engine I have right now. So we've got our 3 copies of research. We have our 3 copies of Marnie. I actually forgot I had a Rainbow Marnie. I pulled this at a pre-release right before I went to Australia, like one of the last IRL events I played. So it's really cool that I still have this girl. I'll probably be replacing these 2 guys over here with the full art Marnies from the gym collector set if I can get my hands on this. But 3 Marnies, obviously same thing, same logic as the research. You have 3, you might need to use them. It's your only hand refresh. Yeah. 2 copies of boss. Obviously now we're more of a bench sniping oriented deck, so we don't really need to have 4 copies of boss or like 3 copies of boss because there's less Dedenne to snipe and take out in the game. There is less Crobats to take out that are in the game. Every deck plays like ways to deal with not putting down bench sitters that are liabilities. So boss is realistically just a way to kind of like bother, pester, clean out the game. But with Drizzle and Shady Dealings and Teleon, we have a way to get them pretty comfortably, pretty frequently. So we don't need to really play more than 2, I think. It's just a very easy way. I play 1 copy of Cheryl just because you can get it with Drizzle. And I think there's going to be a lot of turns where just that one turn where you find Cheryl and use it can really swing the entire game. And our boy over here only attacks for 1 energy, so it's not a big deal. And if he can't attack, we could probably attack with the Dire Flame Wings guy. So we're not in like that bad of a position anyway we slice it. Now we've got 4 copies of Quick Ball. Obviously I think that's very stable of any engine in this current format. You have to play 4 copies of Quick Ball. Every Pokemon is Quick Ball searchable. It's the same as playing Ultra Ball back when it was good. 3 copies of Level Ball. Now Level Ball gets you Sobble and Drizzile, which are both basically like the core parts of our engine. So Level Ball acts as a pseudo supporter in many instances, and a pseudo like just setup card. So it's very good to have Level Ball, but I don't think you might need 3. A lot of us are playing 4 like you saw in the other 2 videos, but I think you could cut down to 2 and go to another supporter. But I also just really like having 3 at the very minimum of like support style cards like this. Like, yeah, like 4 might be excessive, but 3 is just right, like kind of like a Goldilocks number. Then we have 3 copies of Evo Incense. I would like a 4th copy of Evo Incense just because this card is actually insane. It gets you Drizzile, it gets you Inteleon, it gets you Urshifu VMAX. Like, this card gets you pretty much everything in your deck that you might possibly need at any given moment. The Evo Incense can become a Drizzle, which becomes a Quick Ball, which gets you Galarian Moltres as well. Basically, like I said, this is like a jack of all trades kind of card. It's our new Lord and Savior in this upcoming format. Quick Ball and Evo Incense will probably be some of the best cards that this format has to offer for a good while. Now here comes the other tech cards that you might not expect in a list like this. There's the 2 Tower of Waters. We just want to have retreating options and bounceable stadiums, especially if there are decks that play Path to the Peak, other stadiums that might hurt us down the line. Just having cards like this can really balance and like mitigate these kind of situations. So I really like having this kind of stuff. 2 copies of Energy Switch because we are a sniping style deck, so we can accelerate onto the Galarian Moltres, use Drizzle to grab an E-Switch, pivot the energy onto our Urshifu Blue, and you can get 2 back-to-back like snipes really easily without even actually worrying too much about it. And in my test hands, it's been happening a lot more frequently because we have this really consistent engine here that gets us exactly what we need. We can either find one of the pieces and then research for like the other, potentially try to hit the other piece, or we get 1 piece, research, hit like another Drizzle, get the other piece. Like, I don't know. It's actually just nuts how consistent it is. 2 copies of Switch. Again, just having switching cards is really nice in a deck like this where we need to be able to use Gale Thrust, pivot our options, etc., etc. 2 copies of Air Balloon. Again, another switching option that we want to put on something that can stick, so we have a consistent pivot in the game. 1 copy of Telescopic Sight because it adds plus 30 damage. You don't really need 2 ever, I don't think, because it's only like we only ever need this on 1 turn to kind of situationally knock out something or set up the damage in a way where we can end the game. Like this and Pissimian both only ever need 1 use. That's why we don't play a second one, even though they are so good at what they do. So 1 Telescopic Sight is all we need. That's in Vivid Voltage. 1 copy of Energy Search, just having a way to get an energy using Drizzile specifically. So it's like a Drizzile-able energy, basically, if we have the energy in deck. And we could also do some neat things like Energy Search for a Dark, Quick Ball it away, or Research it away, have an energy for Dire Flame Wings, because getting Dire Flame Wings off as quickly as possible is one of the best things that the deck has to offer, once again. Now, here is the energy cards. Wow, I am taking up a lot of space on this mat. I did not even realize. Okay. We have our 4 copies of Rapid Strike energies. That's very staple in a deck like this. We are playing Rapid Strike. Now here's where it's going to get a little bit funky, and I need you guys to trust me on this logic. It's been working fine so far, but it might not work all the time. Then we have 4 copies of Dark Energy and 1 copy of Fighting Energy. Now I know what you're thinking. Rahul, don't you need Fighting Energy to attack with Gale Thrust? You are absolutely correct. But now we have 5 ways to attack with Gale Thrust here, and then we have these 4 energies as just pitchable cards for GMAX Rapid Flow, as well as having these cards to attack with Galarian Moltres. I think having these dark energies, like a higher count of dark energies, as opposed to having like a 3-2 count or something like that, makes it much easier to kind of execute your game plan. Oh, sorry, here's the list, by the way. If you want to take a screenshot, grab it right here. Boom, 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 right here. And subscribe while you're at it. I would really appreciate that. But this is like, having the 4 dark energies makes it just much easier to get Galarian Moltres up and running as early as possible. And finding these is not that difficult, as we're going to be thinning our deck much, much quicker. Having these cards, and like there's 4 copies, we're going to be researching every turn. These search for themselves, so the deck thins itself naturally. So some of these dead cards that are unsearchable, like these Rapid Strike energies and like some of these other energies that are a little bit unsearchable, become much easier to show up in your hand as the game continues. I would like to have a second fighting, maybe, like that's the only thing I would really like maybe in this list, second fighting, maybe a 4th incense, but the list is really tight, as you can tell. Trying to incorporate the Galarian Moltres line was a lot of difficulty, but I think the list is rounded out in a really good way. Like when I put the entire list together, I was at like a 69, 70 card deck, and I kind of had to make some cuts. I had like 4 of these, 4 of these, 4 of these, 4 of these, 4 babies. I had a Eldegoss as well, but I started making cuts, and this is kind of where I ended up. For the time being, all things considered, this is more than likely my top pick for the 10K tournament in August coming up. I'm going to move the cam back onto my face. There we go. But if you guys enjoyed this content, obviously leave a like, subscribe. That would make a lot of mean the world to me. If you guys are coming to the 10K tournament and want to say hi, whatever, don't be shy. Find me, say hi. It is as simple as that. Really excited for IRL play to come back. Building this deck felt really good in person. I haven't built a deck in person in quite a while, so it's really cool building this guy. And yeah, I'm just excited to play Pokemon again. So thank you guys for being here, supporting me, and I can't wait to play Pokemon with all of you.